Now, students, we've got to the point in our concrete project here where it is, as they say, all about the data. Right, so we want to start inputting construction notes and specification notes and material notes. As you know, um, there are various different ways of doing this, okay? And when you do a trawl through YouTube and put in Revit construction notes, you're going to see lots of videos on creating note blocks and various other bits and things like that. Now, my methodology and the one I've been drumming into you since first year is still for me the best. I haven't come across anything that beats it as yet, and that is our use of multi-category tags up here. So in our annotation tab here, we've got multi-category tag, and if you click into that, I have provided you with four multi-cat tags. Okay, so the first one is our construction description and type mark. The second one is the elevation description, in which we type in the notes we want on the elevation in the comments type parameter of each element. Okay, we've got a type mark only, and we've got a uniclass description as well. So we got those four, and they're the four we're going to use for this project as well. How do we use those? Okay, so we're into annotate the multi-cat. We will choose maybe our construction description and type mark. I generally do put a leader line with this. I like a filled 20-degree arrowhead, okay? And as long as we have the information, okay, there's the arrowhead there. Let's pick that one. And again, we want a free end, right? That is the better one to have here. Apply. Okay, let's see if we can do that again. Now, that's the way we want to be able to do this. Delete that one. Okay. Now, so where does this information come from? So let's tab and pick the ground floor slab, and we go over to the type properties. And in the type properties here, we've got a description here, and we've got the type mark there. Okay. We can also, at this point here, on the assembly code, all right, is that we can pop into, and it's generally systems that we'll use here. And we'll go through these, and here's our structural deck systems, and here's our reinforced concrete floor. Okay, so when you input the assembly code, it comes up with an assembly description as well. Now, this assembly description is probably not as specific as we want it to be. And then these notes are all editable as per engineers instructions. Okay, now we go okay to that, and this is obviously a different one here, but it would update everywhere where that note occurs, basically. Okay, so there's the note we just put in here. Okay, that's the ground floor slab over. Now, you can see that there's a little bit of difference between these two here, and they both have the same type mark. And that is a situation we want to avoid. So how can we avoid that? And how can we make our noting system, our multi-cat noting system, more efficient? So I'm going to show you this right now. So we're going to go to our schedule and quantities here, and we're going to right click and come up here. We're going to do a multi-category schedule. All right, multi-cat schedule, and let's open that now. Putting in the fields is very important here. So what do we need here? So we want the family and type. Okay, that's to start with, because we want to know what we're creating the description for. So A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, family and type. That's number one. We want our description. Okay, we want our description parameter in here. Okay, we want our type mark, right? We want our type mark. What we would like is our assembly code, and that is under assemblies here. I think it is. Yeah, assembly code and assembly description. Now, is there anything else we need at the moment? I don't think so. We'll just open up these here. Okay, and let's just bring these across here. Now, so because this is a multi-category tag, and actually we're going to rename this, and this is going to be our multi-category notes. Okay, a multi-category notes, and we'll do one. And the description is here. We might actually move the type mark above the description. I think that'd be handy. Okay. So we've got our type mark in here. We got our description like so, and we can bring that out a little bit further. And then we've got our assembly code. Now, let's bring that one out there a little bit further as well. Okay, something like that. Now, you can see, again, I was saying that because this is multi-category, it's bringing in all the categories. So we got a huge schedule here. Now, you're not going to put this schedule on the notes, but this schedule is incredibly useful in terms of creating our notes and avoiding that confusion of having a similar type mark for different building elements here. Right, so here's typical, here's the situation. Here's our core wall, all right? Now, our core wall is, to me, going to be a 20 and 20. So that's 20 Newton with a 20 aggregate, reinforced concrete to engineers detail and specification. Okay, and if I'm going to use that note and let's say this change will apply to all elements, and now look, populated straight away. So here's our cast in place stairs. Okay, so do we do cast in place or do we do precast? I can't remember, but the note is there. So again, I'm going to use this will be our, well, again, we could use 20 and 20 for that, I think. Concrete precast. So 20. Did you cast? Here, let's tell you what we'll do. We'll just cancel that. Let's take that note. Okay, I can gather it. I can control C it. And I can put it in there. Click out and it'll update all items of that as well. All right. Now, what else do we need here? So escape. Let's go down to our, here's a core wall 2. I'm not quite sure where that one is. And what we can do is select that, right? Core wall 2. We can go into our 3D and it generally allows us to pick up. So it is somewhere in here. Let's go into a section, see if we can see it. Okay. It isn't showing up in the section, but there is a direct relationship between the schedules and the model itself, so that you can actually pick these things out. Now, we've got columns here, okay, and that is not much of a note in here. In situ cast 300, and this is a family, so it might be slightly different here in terms of trying to get a note in here. So what I'm going to do is we'll do it in reverse here. We'll go back in and we'll pick our column here like so. Going to edit type, and under the description here, what have we got? We've got an assembly code associated with, which is good. Type mark, and again, I don't see, we've got our finish there. Structural material is good. Okay. Right, I might try and swap this out. Will I? Concrete square. Let's just see. Yeah, so I use a particular family for that one. probably didn't need to do that. Okay, so I'm swapping it out for our default concrete column from the structural columns in the UK library. So it's 300 square. All right, and here's our description. We can put in our description here now, and this would be 300 by 300 reinforced concrete. In situ cast to engineer's details. Okay, I'm going to put in assembly code here. We go into systems, structural columns, concrete column systems. That's the one I wanted there. And I think that's okay. And we will update that. All right, let's go back into our schedule. And you'll see now, there's my schedule there. So what I want to do is, I don't know how I ended up using that one there, but there you go. And again, this is a great methodology of being able to check your building elements here through the schedule. Okay, so I will go into another column down here. All right, I'm going to select that. I'm going to right click and go select all instances in the entire project. And we're going to swap it out, right, for our concrete square 300. Now, let's go into the schedule here. And bang, look at that. It's updated everywhere. All right. So how useful is that? Okay, now let's get a type mark in here for this. Okay. Delete dimensions, something in there. We put in a type mark here, and this would be or C. So 300 by 300, something like that. Reinforced column 300 by 300. Do underscore there. Okay. Or we could do a or C300 SQ. Like that, and that'll update everywhere. Now I'll go back into my schedule here, and we will go into annotate, into multicat. Okay, there you go. So we got a type mark, and we've got our note in here. Now you can see how efficient this is going to start to get. All right, so let's go down through these things here. We've got a rectangular pad there. Okay, and again, let's take that note, Control C, and we'll stick it in there. Control V, click out. Yes, update everywhere, please. Okay, now we've got our partition wall here. Here's our stud wall. Okay, and what we want is a type mark for this one. So this will be interior. So I'll do wall WT, which is wall type, INT 01. All right. Now maybe that's a little big, but let's just do that for the moment. That'll update everywhere. Let's get our construction note in here now. So this will be a steel stud partition wall with 12 plaster board and skin finish. Okay. With a rock with a rock wool insulation, something like that. Okay. Now let's update all of those, and there you go, all updated. Now again, you can go right down through these. All right, and as I said, and you can start filling out your notes in there, and you can be quite, succinct but specific with your notes here. Look, you got casework here, you got dishwashers. You don't kind of need those type of things, but just leave them there for the moment. You got furniture and things like that as well. But it's these core ones in here. Now let's just go back to my first floor, say. And we're going to go into annotate, and we're going to go into multicat. All right. And here is our multicat note for our interior walls there. Let's get that's the edge beam there. Now, wherever you see a question mark coming up, it just means that there's no note associated with it. So here's our railing glass fill, bottom fill. So we can either go into here and do the work that's necessary in terms of filling out the description, the assembly code, and whatever else. We can do that. So this would be a stainless steel railing assembly with toughened glass panels, something like that. Toughened glass panels. Okay, now I know that's not spelled right, so I'll go back and I'll find my correct spelling, and then when I update the spelling, it'll update the note everywhere. Type comments, right? We're going to do type comments on this one. Okay, so I'm going to take that note, Control C, put it into the type comments, and I'll show you why I'm going to do that. And I'll just leave out maybe the assembly. No. That with glass panels, we'll call it. Okay, and then let's do an assembly code for this one as well. Products in this case, and structural restraint, maybe barrier rails, something like that. So we've got stainless steel rails. We'll do something like that there. Okay. Now, so that note should have been updated. Oh, I know what that's referring to. It's referring to the balcony itself. Well, let's go back in here and see if we can pick this up. See that? Okay, there's our note going out there. Why has the note disappeared? Well, it has disappeared because we've got our annotation crop here. So let's bring that back in and just move our annotation crop out. There you go. Let's come in here. Okay, now, so two ways this is going to happen for you. When you start to input the notes, okay, and you get a question mark, you know that it is not being covered here in your schedule. You need to go and find that in the schedule and put in a note and a type mark. Okay, and here is our, so DT01. Okay, yes, update everywhere, please. That's one. Okay, so you see the efficiency of this whole system here. And you can start to populate. Now, obviously, then these notes will because they're multicat, will do you for here as well for sections. And we just go into our elevations, and I'm going to swap out the multi-category note for our elevation description, and didn't have that on the railings there. There you go. Because on the elevations, the only notes that we want are the finishes that you're looking at. We don't need construction notes in those as well. Okay, multi-category tags, you can't beat them.